let's talk about the broadcast.
Hey!
It's interesting. I don't know if it ever came up on the show. I know it came up in personal conversations between us. With Dave Sims leaving to join the Yankees broadcast as their radio broadcaster, as has been rumored when that deal became open, and because of Dave's ties to the East Coast, which good for him, right? He's closer to home. That's a big time job, and especially as a black man to get the Yankees job, and I'm gonna let you understand that comment. It's a big deal. Like
Mhm.
that is great for Dave, and I'm really excited for him. Even though there are segments of the fan base that feel a way about him. Sure, he made the goofy call every once in a while, but Dave delivered more often than not. So, and he was very nice to me. So
Oh
there's
yeah.
that. I am glad. I think the day of the last game at home, uh, we get done with. I keep gonna say try to say Scott, which gotta work that out still. We got done with Dan Scrum, and we're sitting there watching. I don't think they had BP that day because it was a day game, right?
Hmm.
And Dave's kind of staring at the field and on his own, and I walk up to him, and because I remember, I don't know if I've told my Dave Sim story to either of you guys. uh During 2020 I was doing a bunch of interviews, right? When all CSS was a podcast every week going over all the teams. And then I did interviews with anybody I could get a hold of during main
Hmm.
COVID. I got in Dave Sims's contact, and I did my research down into the bone. I had loads and loads of questions because he's a long career and he's in a lot of things. And he says, "You've got 30 minutes." And I got shit. And so I kind of prioritized the best ones, right? He kept talking. He kept talking. And I was like, all right, we're going to keep going. And we went just about over an hour. And I got done. I'm so sorry, Mr. Sims. I know you had 30. He goes, I was just kidding. I was like, fuck you. I was like, God damn it. I'm sitting there like shaking, doing my interview. And I think the room that had the best lighting was my dining room. And ever since then, Dave's been great. Um, Very helpful to me, very honest as well. And I went up to Dave and I said, "You don't have to tell me if the rumor is true or not. I just need you to know that I've appreciated you and how great you've been." And he looked like he was going to cry, but he stopped and he shook my hand. I was like, "Oh, he's gone." Like you say no if you're not going, right? Or even if
Yeah.
you're thinking about it. So I'll always like, I'm looking forward to when the Yankees come to town for Dave, not for Aaron Judge, for Dave. So yeah, Dave's gone. They've moved on from Mike Blowers, which was another thing that was interesting, right? In this, Aaron Goldsmith takes over as the full-time play-by-play on the TV side of things. And Angie Mentink is being named as the first woman in club history to serve a regular role as an in-game color analyst. Per the report from the Times, they haven't announced any of this officially from Root Sports. Jay Buhner is joining the TV booth as part of a four-person rotation of analysts, joining Mentink, Dave Valley, and Hyphen, Ryan Roland Smith. Should get more burn. I know Ryan was doing some MLB Network stuff, so that's cool to
Hmm.
see. Um, yeah, the only thing is it says Blowers, the club's lead analyst since 2007, will not return to Mariner broadcast this year and did not return a comment. I did see a comment where someone was like, it's kind of ominous about him not returning comment. I don't think so because of the fact, and I think I texted with Brittany about this. Um, it's no secret that Mike had been dealing with some health stuff
Hmm.
like that kept him out of a lot of games last year, and I think 23 or no.
Yes, a couple
Yeah.
23.
Okay.
That Florida road trip, I think.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he had some health stuff. Um, and then even like being in the press box hearing, just excuse me, seeing the broadcast host scramble because Mike couldn't make it, or he had called out or something there, so on and so forth, and I'm sure there's more stuff that's personal. Um, But at the end of the day, I think, especially in the business, like actual business side of things with sports, availability is crucial, right? And if you're not available, that plays a part in things. Reliability, whatever kind of word you want to use. So I think that's it. I don't think it's anything ominous. I don't think they hate the guy. I think it's just, his health is probably important. So, being on TV as much as he was, traveling, it's just not conducive to, dealing with his health as much as he should be able to address it. And that's all I think it is. I don't think it's anything else than that. I don't know if anyone's got thoughts on that, but I'll um anything. No. Because I'll just keep going through the changes. I think we're
I
good.
mean, I'm gonna miss McDelivery Supermo being delivered by
Ah,
Lauer's voice. One of my favorite parts, also when he just calls a pitch pretty good, is always cracks me up. Well, pretty good fastball here that he just couldn't lay off of.
Mm-hmm.
or
Uh,
Cal Raleigh will do the catching today.
Yeah, we'll do the catching. Yes.
oh man,
So
yeah, I'm
I
gonna
mean,
miss
Mike was a
the
great guy too.
Blowersisms. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's all it boiled down to was availability. I don't think there's anything besides that. So yeah, I mean, obviously Rick's back. 35 years. I
Good
love
for
Rick.
Woo!
him.
God bless Rick Riz. Oh, Gary Hill joins the radio booth.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Promoted as a radio analyst. Gary's been around since 2010, largely as the executive producer and engineer for the past 7 seasons. Obviously, Brad in his crock pot. God bless Brad. He's so funny. The great Jen Mueller also returning, of course. Um, I don't think there's any other nuggets there. I think the biggest things are Angie, of course. No
hmm
Mike, which we just talked about. And then Gary. Yeah, Gary's great. I've seen Gary a lot lately because he does the radio for UW women's basketball. I remember walking up to Heckett. I said, "What the hell are you doing here?" It was like, "This is not baseball." He goes, "I do the radio here," and I'm like, "Oh." I,
I had
I
no
forgot
idea. That's
to
awesome.
thank him. I forgot to not thank him, congratulate him. I saw him yesterday. UW played Maryland, but yeah. Brittany, we'll go to you to talk about just your thoughts on the changes and primarily Angie here, because this is a big
Yeah.
deal. This is kind of what I had thought would happen with Dave gone and then
Mhm.
Jake as well. Because obviously, being at the games, you don't really hear those folks that much. But, being on the road, it's always kind of a treat because you've got such a high quality group of people talking
Yeah.
about this game, just like with the Kraken. Like I don't get to hear the John Forsland and JT Brown and Eddie Olczyk when I'm there. Outside of actually, I can hear John in the radio booth with how they have the press box set up. Like I can hear the occasional Forsland yell. Um, but yeah, like being on the road, um, you get such great insight. So yeah, Brittany, I'll have you start. Jake, you can pick up from there, and I'll read more about Ryan Roland Smith.
Yeah, I don't have too much to add other than good for Angie. That girl knows ball, and she has worked really hard. And I think Charles, you and I were talking about her ability to just jump in where
Mm.
needed. I think probably went really uh, unnoticed. I'm guessing people probably missed that part of how frequently she was probably just jumping in at a last minute. So good for her, happy for her, and I'm excited for full time Goldie.
Mm.
We haven't really talked a lot about that, but boy, I found myself watching a college basketball game that I did not care at all about the other night because Goldie was on the call. So stoked for that. And really, these are all just people that deserve this. They are people that have worked really hard for this organization and all deserve this. So I'm stoked. I'm happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, like you said, great for Angie. I mean, she really is the best. Really, really love getting to listen to her call. And yeah, full time Goldie, like you said. And Goldie is such a sweetheart too. Even when you just like he'll give you like just a little bit more time than like
Yeah.
anybody else, and really like really appreciate that. So yeah, I mean, I I'm really sad to see Dave go and to see Blostradamus go. But I think we still do have like one of the best broadcast crews in the game for sure. Yeah, and happy for more hyphen too. I love that Australian bloke. Mate, I should say. That's a little bit more Australian.
Mate.
I always forget he's such a big dude because
Yeah, he is.
I'll walk into the press box and Ryan Roland Smith's there. I can't even like
Uh-huh.
imitate how big he like his upper.
And
Hi,
his
Charles, how are
jacket
you?
that's like two
Oh my
two
God.
sizes too small.
Yeah, and I'm like, that guy's gonna. It's like the type of guy that'll burst out of the seams of a dress
Yeah.
shirt. I'm like,
He
whoa.
really needs to look at menswear guy.
He's sitting in his chair and he's like in front of the row. He's like, I'm like, oh Ryan, let me see. He's like, oh, sorry, mate. And I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, Ryan, don't hit me with one of the buttons when that shirt explodes. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, no, good for him. I felt like he was kind of the odd man out in some situations the last few years of getting some broadcasts, and it's tough when a guy who is knowledgeable like that is an odd man out, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting to me because I know he spent some seasons as a part-time broadcaster early. Well, I was gonna say early into my lifetime because he retired in 2001 and he's been the next 4 years. So yeah, he retired when I was born. um Valley's
Oof.
around. Um yeah, I mean Angie, like I've had such respect for Angie Mentink. Um this is another Charles ties to these broadcasters story. You guys remember the Thai France nights, sadly.
Right.
I remember one of the years, I think the first year they did it, they had Angie dress up in this whole French outfit, and she was carrying a baguette,
Yeah.
and I was there, and with my girlfriend at the time. I don't remember. I don't. It's not important. And Angie was there, and I introduced myself, and I said hello. I hadn't gotten into the Mariners press box yet, and I said, uh, I want to do an interview with her. Yeah. And there was some complications, but a year later, I was at the Kraken team store and they were filming some hit there because they had the Kraken rights. She remembered me and she said, oh, how's the podcast going? And just the fact that she had remembered me was such a big deal to me. I think I even tweeted it on my personal and she liked the tweet. And I was like, oh. But yeah, just someone, obviously, she's also a Husky legend. So there's that.
Yeah.
Um, but actually, like, played baseball, obviously played softball, but like, yeah, and especially with what Brittany said about filling in, like, when Mike couldn't go, like, I would see Angie get her makeup bag because she wasn't initially on the thing, run to the bathroom, and then she'd have to get ready to do the show, like, and she would fill in. So yeah, I mean, these are all folks who deserve it, and like you both have said, like both folks who deserve it, and folks, whether it be as people, but also for their knowledge of the game as well. So yeah, when I knew Dave was gone, I was like, it has to be internal, right? Like I don't imagine they're going to go out and get somebody, and that and the fact that it just made sense internally. So yeah, that's a nice spot after the comments that we had to look at.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, how about those Zaps?
Oh, I'm excited.
I know. Where are you going to watch all those away games, though?
Away games. Huh. I was thinking of coming here since, after all, Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports.
I love that idea. Hope to see y'all here.